Welcome to the Washdown podcast, episode number 40. And today we have a special treat for everybody. We have returning guests, Doug and Darrin Niemeier. Doug is a deputy chief in the police department, and Darrin is a captain on the fire department. So we got a lot of blue team, red team going on today. Great conversation, lots of talk about leadership and taking care of your people and the right way to do things. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode as much as we did making it. Lots of laughs and a lot of knowledge there. So enjoy episode number 40 of the Washdown podcast.
Was it like a collector set at least?
Yeah. I was like, oh my god.
No, it was just bad.
Did
you ever see his music video?
Oh yeah, we watched a couple of them yesterday at the station.
Oh.
Yeah.
See?
It's going to be a long, however long this lasts.
The cop's like, this isn't fair. We don't have free time to do stuff.
Yeah.
You got nothing.
Yeah.
I've been living with this my whole life. Or my whole adult life, I should say. I've been living with this my whole adult life. Oh my God, I had to get up in the middle of the night. I get, as you get older, you get up in the middle of the night with my dog. It's no big deal.
Oh, I was up.
No, you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom yourself, don't
Yes, I know that too. Once I'm up. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, we were up dealing with a meth. Oh, he was methed up.
You get paid to go there.
Oh, I know.
All you
But not
guys.
enough.
Yeah, that's right.
That's going to be un-American.
Yep.
Because I didn't get my safety rest yesterday either. So.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
important.
see? Oh, they both said, oh.
I feel that's a whole new level of respect and, understanding for your pain.
That's right.
Hey, you're a captain now. You have to ensure that your crew gets their safety rest.
Not yet. Not technically. I still got a couple more days before I have to make decisions.
Just don't be one of those floaters that makes them go drilling every day.
Oh, well, so
got
don't
one.
show up in my Class A's that I don't have. And
Right.
Just make sure you get light blue T-shirts. All of them.
And
Every
hats.
shirt you order has to be light blue now.
Yeah, those are on order already. Yeah. I got them real nice there at Target.
I think it's some light blue Air Force Ones, too.
Like I said, it's going to be a long hour.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Washdown podcast.
Yeah. Well, you got promoted. I got promoted. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you do, Darrin?
I had COVID. Oh. I got that. Thank you,
Technically,
Casey.
I even got promoted since the last episode. Technically.
What'd you get?
What'd you get?
I went from firefighter to firefighter paramedic.
Oh, that's right. With the
Yeah.
new thing.
Yeah.
With all the money we took. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. You're like on the captain pay scale now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he probably makes more than I do.
Well, what are you doing? He's retiring.
Petting dogs.
That dude's retired. What that dude's doing is working his business that I got him into.
He did kind of get.
No, I watched your last podcast, and he said, thanks to my brother. See, I was smart. Thanks to my brother. So don't go backwards. Don't go backwards now.
I'm not going backwards. That's right. Because you're the one who put me in contact with him to start with.
That's right. And look where you're at today. All because of what? Big brother.
Yeah, I'm running over with dogs. With dogs everywhere.
Yep.
Like a cat lady, but with dogs.
That's your. I got nothing.
Yeah.
That's your problem with your. Of course, this would be self-diagnosed ADHD.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now it's dogs, it's four-wheelers, or what? Yeah. I'm also his doctor.
Oh, amateur
Psychologist.
He's been my psychologist for 47 years.
That's okay.
That's why I'm in the position I'm in.
Yeah, I wasn't going to
coaching I
say
got.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the coaching I got.
Does Blue Cross cover that, or was that out of pocket expenses?
Out of pocket. It's out of pocket.
Yeah, because I haven't been. And
Not
I haven't
in
been
network.
paid.
Yeah, it was not a network. It was out of pocket.
Hey, I'm going to be looking for a job too. I'm going to be retired here someday.
I'm going to need a dog walker.
That is exactly the kind of job I want when I retire too.
Yeah.
No.
I thought you were going to do the Walmart thing. That was,
No,
for a while, that was your thing.
Welcome to Walmart.
That's right.
Actually, I wanted for a long time. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Royal Stadium. I'm going to be the Budweiser guy.
Oh,
So, but then I was like, that's a lot of work.
that's a lot of stairs.
That's a lot of walking.
You
Done
have
with
to-
that.
Yeah, you got to get promoted.
Bad
Well,
knee.
you get promoted fast, so you get promoted to a crowd club.
vendor.
Yeah,
Get the Diamond Club.
yeah, you get a diamond club.
Yeah, no, I was like that. But I have determined. My best friend, he's a couple hours from here. But when I retire, it's going to be like driving a grain truck.
Huh?
Sit there when it's full, they'll go like this, and you'll go like this, and you'll drive it up there to dump it, and drive back and let them fill it again. No more decision making when I get done with this job.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, not that I'm not going to keep doing this job because I love it, and there's still a lot of work to be done and all that kind of stuff. But I see guys that stay in this line of work. Not me. Whenever I retire, I want to retire from it and really just
Do something completely different.
completely different. At least that's my idea.
Yeah.
When I retire, may change.
Well.
I may run Darren's company and finally get it going really well.
Oh,
Great.
expand. He's going to let you focus on,
Right. So there goes the safety rest.
Yeah.
I'm building those in my company also.
Oh,
I mean,
we'll see.
yeah. The dog's got a rest.
Are you
Yeah.
union? Is your
Not
company
yet.
union?
Not yet.
It's a party of one.
I got a helper.
Is he paid?
He gets paid.
Oh,
He doesn't
okay.
get paid.
Is it a dog?
No.
Okay.
No. But he is keeping one of the puppies, so
That's part of payment.
yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Gave
Yeah.
you this dog for free that you
right.
probably got for free.
Yep.
That's the way. That's the way you do it.
That's right.
Hey, you're already learning
That's
about business.
100% profit.
Right.
Well, I mean,
that's
minus food and vet bills.
And picking up poop and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys a question because you
Are we
brought
really
it up.
going now?
Are we
Yeah,
started?
yeah, we've been going for a while.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Oh, we have been?
You didn't say anything that was gonna.
Are you the producer? Aren't you supposed to say on air?
No.
Oh,
Where's the red light?
down there? It's down there where you can't see it.
Right next to the applause light.
Yeah, we get better results that way.
I got you.
So no, I wanted to ask you guys because you're both, talked about retirement earlier, and I know you're kind of, not ready for it yet, but you're at that point in your careers, both of you guys, where you could go. How important is it to have a plan for after? Because like you talked about, you want to do something totally different. That's your plan.
I think it's important. I mean, depending on where you're sitting, financially and that kind of stuff. But like he was saying earlier, most Americans want to make more money and be comfortable and so to me, yeah, I want something that's gonna, and I know I'm not gonna get rich doing what I'm doing more than likely, but I just want to offset my retirement, back to 100% basically. But I think it is, especially if you have, family and kids and stuff to take care of. But that's my opinion on it.
I'm not retiring anytime soon. My daughters are 23 and 19, so with Brooke still being in school, I'm gonna continue to work until she's out of school. I think the farther you get along in your career, your priorities obviously change. And when you're young, you're just get on the job and you're go, 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 go. And then kids come along or life changes come along and you just kind of change with it. And then as you get to where we're at, then you start thinking about these things. And I'm going to be here for, I'm not going anytime soon. It is nice to know that I can, if I need to.
Yeah.
However, especially being in management, you make a lot of decisions every day. You make more decisions than you really know you even make, because it's just they're coming at you nonstop, one right after another. So I always say that. Now it could be totally different 2 years from now. I could change my mind. I mean, that's a nice thing. But all the decisions that I make, whether they're at my place that I live, whether they're investment, anything is always geared now towards how is this going to affect me when I retire. Because I don't want to be dependent upon having to continue to work if I don't have to. Now, our dad is 71 years old. The man's still working.
He'll work forever.
And he'll work forever, right? So I don't know if he's a fireman. I don't know if he has it in him to keep working, But he's going to do something that he enjoys, right? He already has this business that he really enjoys, and I'm going to be looking for something because I don't know yet. I don't know if I want to stay in law enforcement. More than likely, my mind tells me I probably won't whenever I retire. So I want to find probably something like Darren's got. I don't want to get into dogs. It's a lot of work in that realm. And that's
search
not my deal.
alpacas or
nothing like that.
Or sheep shearing.
No.
You get a little flock of sheep. You can just stand out in the yard and watch them.
Yeah.
I'll get him a dog to herd him up.
Right. So
I got one you can have for free.
but I think it's important that anybody that, when you get to be halfway, 3/4 way through your career, you got to start thinking about retirement. You really do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, you say you don't think about it I didn't think about it till over halfway through my career probably, because I was always one of them guys, I'll work forever. Why not? Why would I quit this and go work somewhere else for less money? Mm-hmm. But then the farther along you get, you're like, okay, I'm kind of done doing this and ready to go do something else, even if it is less money. But something that, not that you lose the passion for the job, but I think doing it over and over so much, you kind of do loses a little bit of its, spark. So then I get to the point where I'm like, yeah, the dog stuff is my passion now. So I want to transform into doing that. But
yeah. Well, a lot of the things that I've read and I've talked to guys who have retired and haven't had a plan. It's like, oh, I should have really done something because after you retire and stuff, and then, you're used to that certain schedule of, 24 on, 48 off, or I don't know, you guys work 8-hour shifts or however you do it, but you're on that constant schedule and you're used to dealing with those same things. And then you wake up one morning and you don't have to go to the station.
Yeah.
What do you do with the rest of your life? And if you've waited to make a decision until you're done, a lot of guys get lost and start.
Yeah, the guys that you hear about,
bad.
at least on the fire side, that say they missed the job and miss all that, are guys that didn't do that, and then all of a sudden they have nothing to do.
Yeah.
I think guys that have something else that they're going into aren't the same.
Yeah.
But
I got nothing planned. That's my problem. Like he has a plan because he has a plan. Mm-hmm. I have a number in my mind of how many years that I'm going to stay, which is probably at least 5, probably 6 more years. And people are like, oh, and you're planning for retirement? I'm like, but I can retire today. If I want to go in and retire today, I could go retire today, but I'm not going to because of health insurance, my kids, other things. So I have some time to think about it, but as I sit here today and say, I want to do something that's totally different than law enforcement. And so I have 5 years, a long time to think about that. But I can assure you, I brought up my dad earlier, and I can assure you I'll be doing something.
Yeah.
You're just not going to quit working. Even though I work here for 32 years, I'm not going to go, oh, I'm done working, I'm just sitting at home. That's not even an option for me.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd be able, though, after 20 plus years of a career of service, that you would be able to give up service of some sort?
I don't know. Because I'm not there, and that's hard. A lot of people on the police side go on to other departments or become police chiefs elsewhere, and I understand that, and it may be an option. I don't know. It's so far away, and it's hard because this is all we know, because this is all we've done. Our adult life is to be in public service. So that's why I say I just want to drive a grain truck. Tell me where to unload and come back and do it again. I'm dependable. I show up to work every day. I'll work all day long. I'll be here tomorrow morning and do it all over again. So I say that just because there's so many things that go on in what we do and the decisions we have to make. And I know, just like you guys, you have to make split-second decisions all the time. And that's a lot over the course of years and years and years. And not every one of them is a split-second decision, but when you make – I'd say they're life-changing decisions for people.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Life-altering decisions for people, and you do that for years.
I know even, too, sometimes after like a 2 or 3 day stint, or hell, even just a shift, depending on how the shift went, I'll come home and get asked a question, and I'm just like, I don't want to make a choice today.
Yeah. But I think, though, like he was saying, spending that much time in this career, it'll always be there. I think, even like if he was driving a grain truck and he came across something going on, he's not going to be one of them pull over and drive around it. That's just not what we do. It's still, I think it's always going to be there. But it's just not going to be the main thing.
That's right. I mean, I'm proud of my service. I'm proud of being in law enforcement. As much as Darrin and I go back and forth about blue team, red team, I love the fire department. It's just in our family. So I don't know yet. I don't know where I'm going to end up, which is probably a good thing. Because if I had something that I knew what I was going to do, that may change my focus. But I'm still focused on where I'm working and the mission that they're on and the things that they're doing for the city. So I'm not so much. I think about retirement financially. I don't think about retirement job-wise for me.
Right. And I think that's a good thing because it seems by and large a lot of people are more focused on 5 years, 10 years, whatever from now with actually doing stuff, and they're not focused on what they're doing in the moment.
Right.
And that kind of split focus, especially in our line of work, eventually could get somebody hurt or killed.
I mean, you hear it all the time, too. Like, 2 years, I'm out of here. Going to Florida. I'm on the beach, something like that. And you can definitely tell usually in, like, their last year to 6 months, they are checked out.
Yeah.
You still got 15 years left or 17 years left. What's your excuse?
He's You're going to go places.
Yeah.
I can already tell.
He's probably going to be the director of the department before too long.
That made him happy.
Look
That
at that
made him
smile.
happy.
I got some changes to make
Maybe I will stick around.
just to watch the shit show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for coming on today.
Are we done? Okay, cool.
No.
Yeah, we're
no.
done.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Wow. 15-minute episode.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now tell us what you've been doing with the dogs. How's that been going?
It's been good. Still slowly building. I'm trying not to get in too far over my head. Since the last time I was here, I stumbled across, or ended up, I went from 0 extra dogs to 3 puppies in like a day and a half out of 2 different litters. So that's been very busy. One of them I'm going to keep to work. The other 2, the plan was to, work with them and get them kind of to a point and get them into a working home. One of those is going to be going soon. But yeah, it's been busy. I mean, so every day it's been feeding puppies and taking them places, getting all their environmental stuff done and that kind of stuff. So been doing that. Was off work for a while with a hip injury that I'm eventually going to have surgery on. That'll be in October, end of October, having surgery on. So I was off for that, going back to work. Between that and going to have surgery, was at work for 3 shifts and got the COVID. So that was fun, So
Were you one of those with serious side effects or just a headache for a couple days?
no, I had like really severe like body aches and headache and all that kind of stuff. It only lasted like a day and a half, and then I felt pretty good. But that day and a half, I was like, oof, it's going to be a long week or 2, But no, it wasn't overly bad. So I was lucky in comparison to a lot of people we know. So,
Yeah.
but I'm over all that, back to work yesterday for the first shift back, and so that's
It was a humdinger, huh?
yeah. Yeah. About 1:30 in the morning, I told the guy who's driving me, I'm like, if I was still off, I'd be several hours into some good sleep right now. Instead, I was 0 in, but that's all right. So we do.
Yeah. It's all part of the job.
I have 0 sympathy for any of you truck people. Absolutely 0. None. Stop. I have none. Stop looking at me. I don't care.
You signed up for it.
We can't help your choices.
Yeah.
I hate both
Hey.
of you.
Play stupid games, get stupid prizes.
Police department hiring?
Yes.
Everybody, so all of us are hired right now.
Yes. We are.
You can't get people to work right now. Everybody makes too much money on unemployment.
That's a whole nother podcast there.
Well, so
yeah.
that was a question, and Darren and I kind of mentioned. I kind of touched on it, but and Jeremy, this includes you now too, because you are officially a leader of men. Yeah. Anyway,
Way to quote Nickelback there.
People. He's a leader of people.
leader of people.
Yeah.
See, I'm PC.
That just means you've been in the HR department more than once.
Now, with everything going on right now, obviously with the pandemic and unemployment the way it is, like, how are you guys, with those you are in charge of, like, how are you maintaining good morale at work overall with a virus, with everything that's going on? How are you keeping your companies, your staff coming to work every day? What are you doing?
Go ahead. You want to go first?
Sure. I just think we never stopped working in law enforcement. There was nobody stayed home. You know, we had when COVID first came about, the city, everything shut down. Well, we didn't shut down. No employees. We didn't have anybody, whether it was law enforcement, civilian, everyone still came to work. So there was never really a shutdown of not coming to work or trying to get them to come back to work or other things like other departments around the city or even stores or retail or anything like that. So there's never been a not come to work policy. The motivation is you know, you got to try different things. A lot of times, and I think this is in management. I'll give you an example. I went to a part of our department the other day and just kind of checked on people. And a lot of times, especially when you're in management, people just want to see your face. They want to know that you're out and about. They want to know that you care. They didn't need anything for their job. And I was like, what can I do? What do you need? Da, da, da. And the guy's like, we've asked for a coffee pot so that we could have it in this room. We have one over on the other side of the building. And I turned to the sergeant that works for me and I said, get him a coffee pot now, like right now. You know, that investment is what, $100 for a bun coffee maker, and that's all they've been asking for. I've gotten 2 or 3 phone, hey, thanks, it showed up today, thank you so much. It's like people just want the things that make their life easier and to know that they're appreciated. And sometimes we try to do things for people, reward program, all these kinds of different things, and people just really want to know that you care. And you should care. If you're in management, you should care about your people. You should care about them, their kids. I always told supervisors, if you're a good supervisor, you will know a couple things. One is, if your employees are married, you'll know their spouse's name. And number one, you'll know if their kids and what their kids do. If you want to start a conversation with somebody and be like, hey, how's Brooke's softball game? Oh, man, they'll go on forever. Ask them how the last night was, and they're like, fine. Ask them what they did last night at work. We ran all night long. Ask them how the boys' baseball game was, and they'll talk for 30 minutes in the hallway, and you're like, oh, we got to get to work. But you got to know that, especially when you're in management. And honestly, you know, whenever somebody asks me about my kids, I'll go on and on and on and on. You know, whether it's Allison or Brooke, I'll just talk all day. Now, something I will tell you, last time I was here, I talked about being a dad a lot, is I forget to tell them how much I talk about them and tell everybody about them. Example, and I know I'm getting off subject because I told you I did this last time because one story leads to another, but I'm as an employee too. Allison's an employee somewhere, and an officer came into where she was at and didn't know that she was the police. Or the daughter of a policeman, and they talked for a minute, and one person goes, well, Allison's dad's the police, and she's like, well, I don't know if you're going to like him or not, but I'll tell you who he is. You know, I'm like, Allison, and she's like, I told him who you were, and he was like, oh, man, he's a great guy, as long as you work hard. If you work hard, you got no problems with him. And the other thing and she couldn't remember his name, and I was like, well, you should remember his name, and something that was brought up was, he knew everything about my kids. He's like, oh, I know you. How's your sister? How's she doing from surgery? Because Brooke had the same hip surgery that Darren's going to have. he knew everything about my kids. And Allison asked me, Dad, how did he know all that stuff? I go, because I talk about you guys all the time. And I should tell my kids that more often, how much I talk about. But that goes back to the original question is, if you're going to be in management, you got to know your people. You got to know their family. Because what does that tell them? You care. Yeah, beat that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. No, I do agree with that. And the same for us. I mean, you guys know we haven't dealt with a lot of people that, you have to stay home because of COVID and whatever, other than guys getting it. And I think we have become it's so common now through the fire department. I don't know about on the police side of guys getting it. You're like, oh yeah, he's out with COVID. And it's just like kind of almost not a big deal anymore. But I think the biggest thing that I've seen on our side is through this whole time where they shut down any kind of training, I think guys got really, really laxed and just weren't doing some of the basic things. I didn't even realize it until when I was on modified and I was doing some of the drills. They're doing the last training and they had us doing the entanglement drill and stuff. Until I went and seen that and where people are right now compared to where I thought they would be. And that's the only thing I can come up with is I think it's guys got really laxed because we couldn't do anything. So then it was, we can't do anything, so we're not going to do anything. As far as, training and keeping up on skills type stuff. But that's the only thing I've seen. But now, luckily, we're back to where we can do some stuff and getting people back in the swing. But as far as employees go, that's the only thing that I've seen a big effect in. So,
well, and too, in regards to at least the fire department, and probably with the police department, in like regards to training, we've all been overwhelmed. Yeah. We have time for work, and that's about it. Yeah. In your work day, whether it be an 10-hour shift or 24-hour shift, there's a little time for rest. There's a little time for any sort of self-care. Like I feel like we've had to even make more of an effort to find those individual times to check in on each other.
Sure.
Because otherwise we're all running. Yeah. There is no slow anywhere anymore.
Well, what I noticed, like I said, when I was on modified, I was down at the academy running a drill down there, and they had 3 companies coming in a day, and one of those 3 companies every day was an ambulance. Not one day was an ambulance able to come because they were busy. They're all running. Yeah. So, yeah. Just the run volume is crazy.
Yeah. Who was it? Were you in that conversation? Somebody was talking about run numbers, and they've went up, I want to say like 30% or something in the past 5 years.
Like 2 years ago, we had one ambulance that was 5,000 call ambulance, and we thought that was insane. And now we've got 2 on pace for 7,000 and 7 on pace for 5,000.
Yeah.
And that's so if our numbers are up, Doug, your guys' numbers are up. It's just.
Yeah, and we're down people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're down a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that goes into, we started this whole conversation with retirement.
Mm-hmm.
We're having people retire at a faster rate this year than we've ever had before, and that can go back to whether it's the stress when COVID happened or the things that we went through last year in law enforcement. There are more people retiring each month than we've ever had, and it's going to take us a long time to pace that back up to fill those spots, because when it comes to a law enforcement person, I can't hire a law enforcement person today. It's 10 months before I really get that person. By the time they go through the academy, they go through their on-the-job training, their FTO, it's 10 months. And I have 16 people retire this month. It's a half of an academy class in a month. How do you can't train people fast enough. So, when you talk about runs and calls, that puts more pressure on the people that are in the field to answer that 911 call. And that's the basis of everything here, right? Answering 911 calls is the basis of everything. So it's been taxing, it's been stressful, it's been overwhelming at times for employees. It's overwhelming for management folks to be like, how are we going to figure this out? How do we reorganize this? All that kind of stuff. So it's been a rough year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been. Hell, it all runs together. Yeah, it just runs together, right?
Yeah.
And on the other side of that, then you put in personal stuff. Everybody has that side. life doesn't stop because we do what we do. You got life at home, and that can sometimes be more stressful than even what we all do.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I was having a conversation the other day at the station, and the whole PTSD and all of that stuff came up. And the guy that I was talking to was like, I don't really believe in it, this and that. And, you know, it's one of those things where, and I was trying to explain it to him of how, you know, PTS and PTSD are totally different things, you know, and just kind of, you know, throw a little education out there. And that was one of the points that I thought about bringing up after the conversation of, you never know what these people have seen or done. Yeah, okay, they've been at a slow spot for their whole career and they've seen one or two traumatic things. Okay, but what happened to them in their personal life? Because it all is involved. It's not just what happens on the fire department or the police department that affects you. What happened in your childhood? What happened when you were an adolescent? What did you see when you were off duty? You know, what do you experience on a day-to-day basis? And people don't think about that.
And that's a question I actually have for both of you, specifically you, Darrin. Now that you're both here, being in the jobs that you are both in and going through what your family went through with the death of your daughter, Darrin, looking back on it now, or in the event that one of your employees would have, God forbid, a similar situation, how would you coach them and guide them through that as a family network, having both of you gone through that?
I think the experience of it is huge, because even though that event's different for every individual, it's also different for every individual within the family. I mean, it was different for him than it was for me. It was different for my ex than it was for me. But I think having the experience in it and being able to coach them to what they can expect, what's coming next, what, you know, an idea of what those feelings are going to be like as they come. And I've known a few people since then who've lost children, and I know he has too. And that experience, I think, is the biggest thing. Just it's like with anything, you know, the more experience you have in it, the better you are at it, usually. And so I think that's been the big thing for me, being able to give them some tools as to what to expect and be able to tell them, you know, anytime something goes on in somebody's life, people tell them, let me know if you need anything. That's usually, and it's just what we say. Nobody really means it. And I usually tell people, let me know if you need anything. And I really mean it. I'm very serious about it. Let me know if you need anything. And I've had several of them later tell me, thank you, that meant a lot, because I knew that you really meant it, where you hear it so much that it's just kind of a second nature thing we say. But I think for me anyway, that's the best way I can help people. So
Whenever I think back on that, and obviously Shayla meant a lot to all of us. You know, Darrin was going through his stuff. I had my two daughters. They were just slightly older. They weren't. And Brooke was only a year and a half older. Mm-hmm. I think she was 4. Shayla was 2.5. Yep. And so it affected mine. You know, when Allison was 8, so she understood all of it, and it was rough. I mean, it was rough because then I was trying to help him. I was trying to explain it to my kids. You know, she's still a part of my house. She's a part of my life. She's a part of all of our lives to this day. But you know, something that came out of that is probably, you know, Darrin and I, we weren't really that tight. I mean, going up through high school, I mean, we're brothers and we had our times. He was doing his thing. I was kind of doing mine, to be honest with you. But after she passed, it was something he'd gotten into that I never really had. And I went to him and I said, hey, why don't you, I told him, I said, hey, I need somebody to help me work out, do things, lift weights and all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, I know a lot of people. I'm like, no, I want you to do it.
Yeah, we worked out together for a long
time. We lifted weights together. We went to police academy. We went to, I think it hadn't even been, it's how long, it hadn't even been built yet. I forget where we were going, but we worked out together. We ended up doing boxing together. We did a lot of things, and something that came out of it I didn't expect to come out of it is we started communicating a whole lot more on a different level. And I remember going home and after we'd lift or work out or do whatever and be like, what'd you guys talk about? And I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't even
It
remember.
was just
Like,
random.
wasn't anything that had any substance to it. We just shoot the shit, you know.
Yeah.
Which led on later on in life. I mean, you know, to where we are today. You know, I'm still taking care of him. He's living in the shack across the road from me. But it's nice, right? Because come full circle, when Darrin moved up there, you know, each night he might be over for dinner, and Brooke would be like, "Oh, it's about dinner time. You're gonna see Darrin at the door, right?" No,
She'd shoot me a text. Hey, dinner's ready.
yeah,
You got any bring the butter over.
yeah.
Okay.
But you know that kind of thing, it kind of comes full circle too, because you always have somebody to talk to. When you really needed, you know, he talks about it's easy to be able to say, hey, somebody, your employee or somebody you know is going through something, you're like, here, I'm here for you. But when your brother's right there and having gone through that, it's really easy for me now to call him and say, man, I really need to talk to you. So I think we have a unique relationship in that way. We don't talk every day now. We don't see each other every day, but I think when I call him, for the most of the part, unless he's doing something, he picks up the phone and we have a conversation, and it may be 5 minutes, it may last an hour, or he may come over and we really hash some stuff out that's going on in our life. And, you know, there's no judgment either way. It's just, that's what I got
Going through all
that.
And through all that, so for me, I was, you know, obviously totally focused on what was going on right in front of my face with losing her. And my family was huge. He was huge, helping get things together, organize stuff. And at the time, I didn't think anything about it. But now, knowing and thinking more about it, knowing, well, he had his grief to deal with because of losing her also, which he had to deal with away from me. And, you know, like I said, dealing with his kids and all that kind of stuff. So he had a whole another side of it that I had, at the time, didn't even think about, you know. But so it was definitely, it was tough for everybody, but
It's life-changing. I mean,
yeah.
we go through life-changing events, and it makes a huge difference at work too. So, you know, I was in the homicide unit about it at that time, and it was one of those things, and I told you this last time I was here, it changed me because things change in a blink of an eye. We see things change in a blink of an eye every day at work. But that was personal, and it changed in a blink of an eye, and that's when I told you, I was like, I have to get connected 100% with my girls. Have to. They were little, but I'm like, I need to figure a way to get out of the job I'm in right now so that I'm there more. But I still I love my job, and I want to be professional and still have a good job and work hard and do things. But that was the snap, that was the blink of the eye that changed, life-changing, and I wanted to be more part of their life. So that event of in itself has changed things from that day still to this day. On the decision making that we make on things that we do.
Well, like you said earlier, you have times in your life it shifts your perspective and you start looking at things in a different way. And I mean, a situation like that is going to. And yeah. I mean, like you said, it affects you in one way and then you in a totally different way. And having all the other issues along with it, yeah, I mean, it can't help but change you.
Yeah.
But the positive that came out of it, I think Darrin and I's relationship became much, much better. It wasn't horrible. It just wasn't. We just weren't that tight. I mean, I went off to college and played sports. He went into the fire service, and we just kind of went our own ways. Like after, I mean, I'm older than he is, and whenever I left home, he was, 15, 16, and I left home, and there was this window in there where we just kind of did our own thing. And then it was after that event, it was like, hold on a minute, we're doing things, we could be gone in a minute. So I think ever since then, we've been pretty good with each other. And we've been through other things in our life that the first person that you can go to is your brother. So that's a positive for me. There's not a lot of positive that comes out of this, but that's one of the biggest positives is I know making that decision to go over there that day and say, hey, let's work out together. And that went on for years. Now, I could probably use it again. But I might get hurt now. Might get injured. There's no sense in.
Well,
He's been living that desk life too long.
yeah.
And now he sounds like my dad. What do you do? Nothing. I do nothing. I sit at a desk.
I read a lot of paperwork.
Send a lot of emails, print stuff.
Just get back into it slow.
Got a
You
nice
want to provide,
stapler.
yeah,
Talking about working out?
yeah.
I might get
It'll
hurt.
be slow. It'll be slow.
Could you imagine if I got injured? Then I couldn't use this. See? No way.
He's got retirement to think about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one slip and fall away from being retired. I got to be very careful at my age.
You have them Velcro shoes for you know it.
Skechers is what Howie Long wears now. Yeah.
I can't. I'm the one having hip surgery. I can't say nothing.
The hallway to his office might be freshly mopped, and who knows what he's
That's
done.
right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. He gets mall walkers on it.
I knew I was going to come here and be beat up today. I even knew it, and I was like, man, I'm going to be on my best behavior.
Don't. Just let it fly.
You might as well have walked in a firehouse. You knew better than that.
That doesn't scare me.
He used to come down and eat with us all the time.
Most of the time, that I scare them. They're like, oh, they all start looking around until they figure out who it is. It's kind of funny.
Especially the ones that don't know him.
Right.
I'm here for Darrin. Is Darrin here? I need to speak with him.
Yeah.
And there's a cop.
I don't know if I told the story last time where we were on an EMS call. It was a cardiac arrest.
Oh, yeah, this is classic.
And I know we shouldn't make light of that situation, but we get there, doing our thing, hooking
Hero
up AED.
stuff.
Yeah, doing hero stuff. That's what we do. So, and there's, like heroin laying around this apartment and stuff. Of course, so PD starts showing up. So I'm bagging this guy, and we're like right in the door of his apartment. So I look over, and it's him before he got promoted the last 7 or 8 times. How many times they get promoted over there? I don't know. It's like
Jealous.
it's like ribbons. Here's
like
a ribbon, and we
Pez
get
dispenser?
promoted. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Get
like
to the story.
like I said earlier, they're like Oprah over there.
There's
You
a
get a
stand-up-
promotion. You get a promotion.
This is not stand-up.
We're so proud of you.
There's a stand-up
yeah.
comedy going
Yeah.
on.
So anyway, I'm
What's the
bagging.
difference between us? Professional. 100% jokester. You know what I mean? Be a professional. Come on.
So anyway, I was seriously bagging this guy. And I look over and he's standing in the doorway just looking at me like, And a couple of his guys show up, and it was not long after I went to station I'm at now, so those guys hadn't really met him. They didn't know who he was. So I look over, I'm like, officer, we're going to need some assistance in here. My guys need some relief. And he's like, do your damn job. That's your guys' job. We ain't helping you. We're not. So we and him start jawing back and forth. So my guys are looking at me. They're doing compressions, looking at me like, oh, God, we're all going to jail. And his guys are looking at him like, what is going on? And it wasn't until we were getting the guy loaded up, that everybody started figuring out what was going on. They were like, oh, Lord.
Yeah. You look at his name tag and finally figure it out.
Well,
Slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of them don't know how to spell my name anyway. So
Well.
they're like, But
That was a funny one. That was pretty funny. I can't remember. There's been a couple of those times where you show up and you're like, or I've been on, well, the two brothers that work at your station now.
The Stills.
Yeah.
The
They
Still
showed
brothers.
up. I showed up. I was a commander. I show up, and for whatever reason, they were both there. And one of them's getting ready to lean in a car, and I just start yelling. I'm like, get out of the car! All you do is mess up scene. And the one that knows me is like, and the one that doesn't know me is like, oh, what? And I'm like, and then it's all like, oh, that's Darren's brother. I was like, ooh, I thought got him. So, I do that kind of stuff all the time. But I've always felt comfortable going into a fire station. But most of the time, there's somebody that I know, or if I don't, it doesn't bother me. I think for the most part, when it comes to our professions, the worker people don't have a lot. I mean, there's a few. We have a few. You have a few. Yeah. There's a few doctors, lawyers, nurses, teachers. We all have a few. But for the most part, everybody gets it. For the most part, we all get it.
It's all same team.
Yeah,
it really
It really is same team.
I had a wreck like a month ago right out in front of the hazmat station. It was bad. 5 or 6 patients. Car literally basically exploded in pieces. Patients everywhere. And we were the first ambulance there, and the hazmat crew was kind of wandering around trying to get everybody, and PD's there. And, nothing is getting done the way I want. And the natural medic in me, I was like, hey, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I'm grabbing people by shirt collars and shirt sleeves. And like,
It's so cute. Medics think they're in charge of anything.
well, we had like
What'd the blue team do?
we had like 5 critical patients. So I'm like walking and like, hey, come here, and pointing, and like, hey, come here, and pointing. And I just like grabbed one and I'm like, all right, hey, I need you to go over there and you need to hold her C-spine real quick. And I just kept walking. And I like look as I'm walking back and I just see double gold bars. And I was like, and like it was the duty captain.
Right.
And he like went on over there and was holding the C-spine. And afterwards I'm like, I'm so sorry. He's like, oh no, it's fine. It was busy, blah, blah, blah. But you know, that was the thing. It was just like, it was a shitty situation. We all got it done. Everybody worked. It went well. But I was just like, hey. And I'm like, oh, oops.
Like you said, when you get right down to it, I mean, the worker bees know. I mean, everybody's on the same team, like you said, other than a few exceptions, and would just do what needs to be done. I mean, you know, I've never really seen a big argument between police and fire on the scene of anything. I've seen more firemen argue amongst themselves or PD argue amongst themselves than with each other, really. Yeah. So,
and I've even really seen it like non-rank specific on big incidents. It's like brass doesn't matter, rank doesn't matter. Like the job needs to get done, and I think between our both departments, we've always done it very well.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen the correct way hundreds of times more than it didn't happen the right way. But you only hear about
the one time.
Yeah.
of course.
And that's what happens. It's the same way whenever you have something happen in law enforcement. We only hear about the one or the two or the three. You don't hear about the hundreds of times, thousands of times, hundreds of thousands of times that it got done right. So it's the same way now. I mean, I enjoy the banter. Mm-hmm. I really do. I enjoy the banter back and forth, especially now that I know a lot of people on the red team. But it's always fun when you show up and you see Darrin, and then you just kind of take charge and tell them what to, because sometimes red team fellas, they're like, huh?
Just tell him where to park his truck, because they do have issues with that.
They get a little irritated about when you tell them to move their truck. Yes. Well, I remember one incident. I do remember one incident whenever you guys, you got yourself blowed up over there, and I was like, what'd you park the truck there for? And then another time he calls me, he's like, there's a fire on Truman Road, and he's like, yeah, we melted the paint off of it. And then I'd say, you guys obviously don't know how to park your vehicle.
Yeah.
You need to we're good at that. Like, yeah.
Those are both not good. Different podcast.
Yeah. Funny how now we need to go somewhere. Now, can we not talk about that?
Yeah. No, they were, yeah. Mm.
I even love like the on-scene just like banter amongst ourselves. Like I had a shooting like a month ago, and there was some cop, because they don't know how to park on scenes, so blocked the scene from like a block away.
Yes.
And we pull up and like park the ambulance, and I get out and I'm like, hey, can we move this? And they're like, just bring the cot. And I said, that's a long way. And then I hear a different voice go, you need the walk. And I'm like, we're about to have 2 motherfuckers shot on this scene. And then I get down there. It was one of my buddies from Center Zone that I've known forever. And I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's all good fun. And I know if you take the average person off the street and they listen to this banner, they're like, oh my God, that's so unprofessional. But if you roll it back into, what we were talking about earlier with the PTSD and all that, I think you have to keep it that way, or it just gets so heavy that, then it's not good for anybody.
Well, and like if you're drunk on the sidewalk and we show up, we're going to have our fun before you go.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting off scot-free of just a free ride to the hospital without some jokes cracked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like whenever I went through all of my crap and went through therapy and all that stuff, they were using like an analogy or whatever of, the level that you can operate at. Most people, you want people to operate at like a 2. That's nice and healthy. Well, then you can ramp up from there and then come back down. Most of us, we get into that stage where we operate at an 8 or a 9. Well, there's nowhere to go but with the roof completely blown off after that.
Right.
And I think having those conversations, saying those jokes, doing all that stuff, it keeps us from operating at that level. It lets us bring it back down, make sense of stuff a little bit better, and kind of pull some of that tension off.
Well, and I think just like what you're saying with those levels, and I think that's what creates a lot of issues amongst families and marriages and just our lives in general. When you're at work, you get to that point where you're amped up to that top level just because of the nature of what we do, what the callers, and what's going on. Then, for us, we go back to the station, it comes down, you go home, it's expected to be down here. And it's not all, it doesn't return down there that fast.
Well, and especially for us when we're, not to knock on you, Doug, but like we are in that for 24 hours versus, 10 or 12 hours. I've even noticed it's a lot easier to come home and decompress after a 12-hour shift than it is a 24-hour shift.
Yeah.
That's a long time to hang out at that red line mark.
Yeah. And I think, you come home to family or whatever you have at home and you're still in that elevated level. And then it's, well, you need to do this. We got this going on, that going on. And you don't have time to get back down to that level to be able to function. And I think it just keeps you up there, and it's hard to sustain.
Yeah. Well, at least we have 2 days to come down where, PD, they're right back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every day.
And I can't imagine working, a night shift in East Zone and trying to decompress from that.
Yeah, you can. Watch an old Wild West movie. That's basically what it is.
Yeah. And then trying to decompress from that through the day while you're trying to sleep to go back into a night shift. There's just no way. I mean, I've never done that, but I mean, doing what we do and trying to think about that's crazy.
That's why I always, especially in the position I'm now, you got to give some people a little bit of grace, right? You got to, whether if we're in a situation together, you got to give people just a little bit of grace. It's whenever you got, and I like your analogy of the number thing, because when you said, when most people are at a 2, and that's, I'm not for sure. I'm going to be 50 years old. I don't remember the last time I was at what would be considered a level 2, period. So when you're on the scene, whether it's with you guys or anybody, if you see somebody, whether it's on the blue team, the red team, the other team, whatever, that's where people got to give people some grace that's in these high-stress situations, because you don't know what's going on, and you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like you said, it could be at the end of their 10-hour shift, and it's been they've answered 22 back-to-back 911 calls. They could have just got done with whatever scene, and now they're on this one back-to-back. So it's human nature, especially now. I mean, I know you're going into where you're going to be in command, and you gotta be able to take your guys and go, hey, listen, just get on the truck, and then you talk about that when you get back to and be like, look, you don't know what they just went through. You don't know what they just went through. I would do that if I was a supervisor on the blue team. I say, hey, come here. You don't know what just happened. Calm down. So. There's a lot of stressors out there, and Darrin just brought something up about you leave work and you go home and that kind of stress. I stress for him when he's at work. There's been
don't. He's on a truck. He's fine.
Yeah,
don't.
Well, I give you the example. There's been a couple different times, and usually when he has something major incident, we usually talk about it or it's come to light. But whenever I know the big ones happen, and I know where he works, and I know the part of the city it's in. I'll know whether he's first in or second in or not. There's been a couple times I've sent people that are close to me on the police department, like, go find my brother, go find him.
Yeah, there's been a couple. Well, the Avenue Fire, John and Larry, one of the guy who worked for him, found me right away, not long after it happened. He's like, just checking on you, talk to your brother, everything's good. I was like, yep, good. So he said, okay, be safe, and went on. And I have no doubt he probably called him immediately to let him know.
Right.
But, yeah, that's happened a few times where guys will show up and be like, hey, just checking on you. So
how do you, with both of you being leaders, Doug, you talked a little bit about this in your last episode when you talked about the officer you had in your area that was shot in the head and we almost lost him.
1% chance.
How have you guys, as you have transitioned from frontline personnel to leaders, managed your emotions to be like a duck, the smooth on the top of the water, paddling like crazy underneath? How have you made that transition? What's been some of the difficulties for you guys doing that, or what has been the best way you've managed that?
Well, I'm going to speak for both of us. We've been through a lot of stuff in our life, a lot, whether it's on the job or off the job. And people are like, "Oh, that's experience." Well, what is truly experience? Sometimes it's failures. Sometimes it's good things. But when you've just had so much happen, you have all this knowledge to pull through. Darrin was talking about, with Shayla's incident, he has an experience from that. He has something he can go back on to help others, and good, bad, or indifferent. We've had a lot of things happen in our life. And if it didn't happen to him, it's happened to me. So we've helped each other transition through those things. So we were talking about it earlier about processing, or I used the word process, whether it was whenever Shayla passed away or when I went through a divorce, and other people that have gone through it. I'm like, you have a process to go through. So whenever something big incident happens now, I pull upon all of those to go, okay. And the biggest thing is, especially when you have people that you're leading, if you're out of control, the whole thing's out of control. You have got to remain in control of yourself to start with, because if the boss or the leaders looks like a tornado, what do you think? They're the things are flying away. So I always try to take a deep breath, stand there, analyze the situation. Obviously it's quick, but then just like you said, you already said you did it. You start going, you there, and you just start making decisions. Are they all going to be right? No, but you're making decisions, and you're making people work at that point. And that's what we're all there for, but they're looking for you to tell them exactly what to do. I can tell you many a times I've been on scenes or major decisions and investigations where literally I got everything under control and deployed, and I'm like, oh God, I hope I made the right decision. Hope I made the right decisions. But that's when you kind of, as the leader, almost feel alone, because you've just put it all into play and now you're just standing there. So you go back to his incident. I didn't have anything to pull upon from that. I never had an officer that worked for me be shot. Well, that day I had two. I had one earlier in the day on the avenue, but you pull upon experience. And I'll long-winded, but like I said, Darrin and I have been through a lot of things in life, good and bad, and that's what I've drawn upon. His experiences and my experiences together to make those kinds of decisions, whether they're personal or professional.
Well, I think, say, use the number analogy again in a different way. So our worst day is probably about the same day, close to. So that's at a 20 on the 10 scale. And people that we deal with, even employees, calls we run, whatever, that's their worst day. And I kind of mentioned this in the last episode. But having that experience allows us to know whatever we're dealing with in this level could be a lot worse. So I think it allows us to keep calmer, at least on the surface. I can guarantee you my brain's going 1,000 miles an hour. It always is. Yeah.
No. Self-diagnosed ADHD again.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I diagnosed him.
Oh, I
I
forgot. I'm sorry.
did it earlier.
That's right. He's my doctor, remember?
Yeah.
And
Therapist, doctor,
Yeah.
all that. Financial guidance. I do it all.
Dog walker.
Darrin,
Dog walker.
you're absolutely correct, though. And it's something I've even noticed, like with the death of my mom when I was a kid, and then the death of my grandma shortly after, and having to take care of my grandpa who's chronically ill. Like, there's just those things in life. One of the hardest parts for me, I'm getting better, is not telling the person, everybody calls 911 because it is an emergency to them.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's an emergency to us,
Right.
but it is to them. And it right off the bat, it was so hard because I'm like, you called for this.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about all the things I've been through.
Yeah.
You don't even
that's
know.
hard. That's hard to.
Yeah, and it is hard. And I've obviously gotten better at it. It's not like I fly off the handles all the time, but it's definitely one of those things. You're right. The past experiences just sometimes are overwhelming, and it's not, nobody wishes for what has happened to us. But it is our job to use those things to the best of our ability to improve ourselves and our professions.
Well, and I think that's a great point, and that's the key to it is you're going to go through hard times in life and bad shit's going to happen. And the ability to take that bad stuff and grow and learn from it and then being able to use it into in the future, I mean, that's huge. And that's how you become, leadership material.
I mean, sadly, we see what happens when you don't.
Yeah. Well, the two options you have when you go through something like what we've all gone through and seen and whatever, you either learn from it and grow from it, or you create this huge fear of it happening again. And I think if you grow from it, and we've all heard the guys on the radio that show up to a house that fire's blowing out every window, there's people laying in the yard and whatever, and they're just calm as could be because they've grown from those experiences and they know there's nothing I haven't seen before. It can be worse, and they've learned from those. And the ones that you hear that show up are screaming, either they haven't had the experience or they're in that fear stage of, oh my God, this is going to happen again. And I think that's the big difference for me. And we hear it every day on the radio, and I'm sure it's the same on their side. I'm sure they have officers that show up and they're just wound. But I think for me, that is huge in leadership, being able to grow from those experiences and learn from it and not be stuck in that, oh my God, this could happen again phase. But
I never thought about the fear, oh my God, this is happening, but you're 100% right. We always just see the coping mechanisms of that fear, the alcoholism, the mental health that's undiagnosed. We see that, so we think, but you're right, it is the fear of it repeating itself.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that, and this was for me the last time I was here with you guys, it may not have seemed like it, and I watched it one time when it came out, and then I'd never even seen it.
all 400 views was him.
Oh my God.
I was going to say, you two were like the top 2 most popular episodes that we've ever had.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I mean, Darrin was number 1, obviously, but
Well, yeah, he puts it out to all the
We'll
dog.
get you one of those
He put it
PD
out to all the dog people.
We'll
It
get you one of those
wasn't-
PD participation
Yeah.
ribbons.
I'm going to get promoted. You get a ribbon and get promoted.
Oh my God.
You know they get a ribbon if they shoot well?
Hold on.
nobody's got a ribbon in a long
Hold
time,
on.
have they?
Hold on.
Shouldn't it be like a requirement?
Hold on. That's not so simple.
I'm just kidding. I know
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
But for the point of this story, it is. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, from our perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. But in that too, our perspective of them is so skewed.
Right.
And there's of us also.
See,
yeah.
that's why I hate Chicago Fire and love Chicago PD. Because to me, everything in Chicago PD is real because I don't know any better.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I interrupted you in the middle of, I don't even know where we were going.
Story of my life with you. That's his, once again, just got to let him go.
It's
Just
your
let 'em
cross
go.
to bear.
Yeah. Oh, my.
Hey, just like we said, it could be worse.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. Well, I was saying something. I went back and watched the
Oh, yeah.
video, but it was hard for me to come here and kind of bare my soul because a lot of people don't know everything. Because I don't share my information, or because information's power. But it was important to me after seeing what Darrin had done. He's like, hey, I really think you should tell people because it's going to help somebody. So unless somebody watched that, they don't know a lot of things that's happened to me in my life because I don't go out volunteering to say, hey, guess what? And I think I've said it before. If Darrin and I are at an event together, we're probably standing over there side by side just talking to each other, just kind of taking it all in. We're not get out there because, like he just said, my mind works the same way. It's running 1,000 miles an hour in the room, but on the surface, it just looks like, is he okay? Is he mad? I can't tell you. Are you upset? No, not at all. Why do I look upset?
Resting bitch face.
Yeah, well, probably, but usually it's just an example. Last night, a conversation I was having, we went and looked at some. I'm not going to live there, but we went and looked at some condos downtown, and the whole time I'm just looking around, and she's like, "You're kind of uncomfortable here, aren't you?" And I go, "Yeah, it's a lot of there's just so much going on, stimulation everywhere. It's like hallway, doors, people. It's just clang, clang." I'm like, and I live on 10 acres. That's the thing that's gotten me through the last few years. After my divorce, whenever I got that place, I can go home every night, and it's at least, like yesterday I mowed for 3 hours, peaceful. Most people are like, "Oh, I hate mowing," peaceful. The last night there, when we were looking at those, it was just nonstop. I mean, it was uncomfortable for me when we left, but she noticed that. She's like, "You were really uncomfortable in there." And I said, "Yeah, I was." And it's just because there's so much. But if you see Darrin and I someplace and we're just standing there talking to each other, it doesn't mean that we're not evaluating everything, taking everything in, noticing everything. It's sometimes you just need that comfort next to you to be like, "Hey, But my whole point that I was getting at was, it was a lot for me to come here. When you talk about fear, and you talk about for me to open up and talk about experience, because somebody needs to hear it. Well, if that guy will talk about it, I told you about my experience with employee assistance program. I'd never told that to anyone, and that happened a long time ago when I did that. It's been 12 or 13 years ago that I did that. And I'd never told anyone outside of a very small group of people about that until I said it on the podcast. So even to this day, I have reservations about it. But, with him kind of pushing me along last time, I'm like, yeah, if it'll help somebody, I'm all in. I'm all in, because that's what you have to do in this profession.
Yeah. Well, and that's huge. And because there's such a stigma in both of our professions about anything related to mental health. We've all sat around the table or the coffee pot or whatever, and we've had the conversations or heard the conversations. Well, you just suck it up, or, this or that or the other thing. Being able to sit there and openly talk about it, I think, would head off a lot of problems that end up manifesting themselves because, we want to keep it inside. Oh, it's embarrassing to talk about that. Well, nobody else is talking about it. Or, everybody else is fine. I'm the only one with the problem. That's not true at all.
And we're not even saying, what's cool about like conversations like this, we're not advocating for anything. This isn't you need to be on meds, you need to get in counseling, you need to do this type of therapy. Just start the dialogue.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, it's not a... It's today, and we push it a lot in law enforcement now. Well, that's not the proper term. It's available. It's a lot more open and available, and it's talked about at trainings and in service. And last time, I see it a lot more now where people call. I didn't check on someone in about 4 or 5 days, and lo and behold, he had COVID, and it wasn't him. But I hadn't checked on him, and I didn't know. And I got a text, "Hey, you better check on him. Did you know?" And I was like, "Oh, man, I should have checked on him," because he's always checking on me. And there's other people that just call and say, "Hey, I'm just checking on you." That used to never happen when I came on. Never. And it happens a lot now, in my opinion, compared to what it was 26 years ago. You came to work, you did your thing, you went home and worked off duty. You just worked all the time. There wasn't any of that. So the positive side of this is I think there is a lot more openness about it amongst the younger at least I know at least with the younger people on our department. It's more open, it's more honest about that than the older guys and gals. But I anything I could ever do if upon somebody pulling upon my experience or Darrin's experience, I'm telling you, I told you last time, I have a front porch that is pretty much where I have been able to find peace. And whether that's sitting there with no one around and just listening to the wildlife or the wind blow or the rain this morning, I sat on my porch and had my first cup of coffee, no one around. That's what brings me peace. That's open to anybody that needs it. And I mean that. I mean, we truly mean that because we've been through a lot of things and survived those things and had really good careers. And I think to this point, I mean, my girls look at Darrin just like their second dad. My girls are there and around too, and they see what their dad, their uncle have done, and are proud of that, because these professions are honorable, but they take a toll on you. So it's important for all of us. And if there's anybody that has a story that can help somebody, they should be on here too, giving it.
Absolutely. Well, that's the whole reason that we started this thing.
Yeah, like you said, it's changed a lot. I know it's changed a lot on the fire side in the 23 years I've been on, and I think there's a lot more room, a lot farther we can go, but it has definitely changed a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll bring up, if we see something or do something, whatever, I'll bring it up with my guys right away, and I'm not afraid to. I'm like, I don't care who judges me. Now I'm the old guy in the station, so it used to be you didn't say anything unless the old guy did. But now being the old guy, I'm like, I'll bring it up right now. Talk to all my guys. You good? Everything good? Good job, guys. We talk about what we could have done different. At least, like I said, open that conversation, get that door open, and start it right away.
It's kind of looking old. It's old gray.
I know.
You used to have this really atypical fireman handlebar mustache. Now it's a mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
Well, look at me.
the thing,
I got
Sounds like
nothing.
somebody's a little jealous. That's
No.
what I'm hearing.
Oh, why do you? I mean, I realize you're all on the same team, but you don't have to stick up for them every single time.
I'll be honest, I'm a little bit surprised. I figured Moran would lean more your way.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, he's just got so many cop friends.
he did ask for a job earlier.
Yeah.
I asked if they were hiring.
Well, I mean,
Tomato.
even though we're truckmen, we
And
know
it's
2
only
plus
because-
2 equals 4.
Only because you two assholes teamed up on me. Here I am defending you the whole time, and you team up on me.
Yeah. That just happened. See how fast that goes. I'm used to it though. See once again, calm. Right here, calm. Doesn't bother me.
Well, I still have 5 years on the job, and I'm pissed.
He's one of those.
Yep.
Just kidding.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I could go tomorrow, and I'm staying another 5 or 6 years. So that's let's not lose point of that too. This is a good career. It's a good career. It's provided well for us. We all got into it to help people. We all got into it to do public service. We got into it for all these reasons. In the later stages, you're into it because it's provided for your family. It's provided for all these things. And I'm going to tell you, if there's anybody out there, I would encourage people to work in these services. I would encourage people to be in law enforcement. I encourage people to be in the fire department. Have people, I can't believe anybody would want to do that. Why not? It's highly honorable.
And you get the memories are worth it. Like just in the last 5 years, I have had stories that I will laugh till I cry about thinking about. How cool is that? I've got memories of helping, truly helping people. Mm-hmm. Watching people truly be appreciative. Can't beat that. And I get paid to do it.
There's more people in our city that love what we do. Both professions. They love the fire department. They love the police department. They really do. And once again, it goes back to the same thing. We only have a certain element that does not. Now, 90, whatever it is, your approval rating, 95% of the only people that don't like you guys, like I said before, is concrete business. Because if it could burn, then they would like you too, because you guys are the best at saving concrete.
See, I think it's PD that makes up that 5% of the disapproval.
It doesn't like. No, that's not true. It's only concrete business don't like the fire department because that's the only thing that don't burn.
They should like us because we probably cause a lot of the potholes.
Yeah, true.
That's public works. I'm just talking about concrete people in business. You guys save it every time. Save the basement. Good job.
But on that note, I don't know how many conversations we've had where he's like, why do you guys go in those places? Just let them burn down because they're vacant. Saves the city money, especially when he was working at City Hall.
Because he doesn't know what it's like to be a hero.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. How many times have I heard this?
That just happened.
How many times have I heard this? And of all people, you. They're staging and they won't go in. They're staging and they won't go in.
I don't have a gun.
No, I'm not talking about. them. It's like a.
We've seen how many lack of ribbons you guys have for your shooting. We're staying out of the scenes for a little
Yeah,
bit.
you know
This is
what?
turning-
You know when
Oh
we're
my
sitting back
gosh.
with the binoculars to see if the scenes. We're just checking for ribbons. Has he got the shooting? Has he got the shooting ribbon? Yeah, we're good. Hey,
Yes.
he's got the ribbon. We're good.
So
Yeah.
since he's your brother, whenever we have to stage, do you guys get cops faster than the rest of us? Or
No.
no?
There has been
Yeah.
times. It's been several years ago that they had a bomb threat at City Hall, and we were staged for. God, we were there for like 3 hours, and they just I don't know what about it made it legit, but they were going floor by floor, and a buddy of mine was in a K-9 unit. I knew he was there, so I was texting him like, "Where you guys at? What floor are you guys on?" He's like, "Well, we started in the basement. We're up to 3." I'm like, "Oh my God, we're gonna be here all day." So I was texting him randomly. I'm like, "What floor are you guys on now?" But other than that, no, it doesn't. They don't know. I'm very, very select officers when I tell them who I am.
Because you never know.
That's right.
That's just like my daughter. My dad is this. I don't know if you'll like him or not. So, that's the other part about management, and it's not always the best. You got to make decisions about personnel, right?
Yeah.
So that's the worst. That's the worst part of management is have to make personnel decisions on things.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes you do.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, we had fire captain on James Kelly a couple of days ago, and he was talking about that, about viewpoints. And, using us as an example, whenever you're a firefighter, your view of everything is this big.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to be a captain, and it expands a little bit, and you get to see a little bit more of the picture. And then, to the chief level, then to director and all that, it expands out, so you get to see the whole picture. Well, for us down at the bottom level of just being firefighters and EMTs and all that stuff, we're seeing this small picture. Why are they doing the things that they're doing? Whenever up here, they're looking at something totally different. Like, we have to do this so we can get here.
Yeah. I always put that, and I use this when I'm teaching people with dog stuff all the time, that when you're in the box, it's hard to see what's in the box. And as a firefighter, you're deep in the box, so it's hard to see what's going on. And as you get promoted, you get farther and farther up and out of that box and get the bigger picture. And I think that's like at the captain level where we're at is so much different than where he's at. Like I said, we're still kind of we're like on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of in there and don't have that big picture. So it's easy to be like, well, what are they thinking? Well, we can't see the big picture.
Yeah.
But that's always
I
kind
don't
of my
even know
analogy of it.
how many times I've just been on scenes,
I like that.
like large shooting scenes or large wrecks, and you're the first unit there, and you're patient care.
Yep.
And I've done it multiple times. Like I'm get done with it, and I look up, and I'm like, whoa, where'd everybody come from? Look at all it's just a completely different view of when I went into tunnel vision mode to treat that patient, and now here I am in kind of decompress mode. I'm like, damn, look at everything that's here now.
Yep.
I always think the perspective thing, I've always thought that interesting, and that was the first thing I thought about when James said that. I remember I ran a shooting in a prominent entertainment district, and it was like me and two cops when we first got there, and it was hectic, and we had multiple patients, and then when it was all said and done, I was like, damn, it looks like a laser light show out here with all these red and blue lights.
Yeah, but here's the thing that you guys haven't talked about that I've really learned over probably the last 5 years is when you're a fireman or when you're an officer, it's, like I said, it's just you. Then you become a supervisor and you have a squad of 6 to 8. That's manageable. When you get to the captain level where we're at, you got about 60 employees. Then when you run a division station, you got 171. And then you get promoted again, you have hundreds of employees. And you're responsible for all of them. Not only are you responsible for things that you do daily, but you're responsible for those folks. And that has been a thing that you really got to learn how to manage that as well, right? That's a different kind of stress. It's a different kind of stress than fighting a fire or going to a shooting call or whatever. Now you're managing your own people. And like you said, I'm really proud of you for your little analogies. You must have read some books before you came here.
I don't know where I came up with that.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm really proud of you. But you do have a different perspective when you're in my position, because now you're out here and you have all of this and you have all of the information. As I was coming up through different ranks, I did the same thing. I'm like, what do they even do? And then you get there and you're like, oh my God.
How do you do
and
all
then
this?
and then you're like, and then you make it to another level and you're like, I work my butt off. What do they do? And then you get there and you're like, oh my God, had no idea. Because you're doing your job when you get there, and when you're below that, so much it's not hidden from you, but you just don't know because they're just doing their job. They're keeping things from coming to you. So by the time it gets all the way down to the bottom, how much work has been done? People don't have a clue, because they're always like, I don't know what they're thinking up there.
Yeah, or like, at our level, it's like our battalion chief wants us to do whatever. Well, I'm pretty sure that didn't come off of his brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That trickled down from above, and
Right.
he filtered it as much as he could to, this is what we got to do, usually.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times the guys at our level below lose sight of that,
Yeah.
And they just take it out on the next level up and don't realize.
Yeah, well, it's that knowledge gap. And I mean, that could be applied for anything,
Yeah.
of, okay, well, let's talk about history. Okay, well, this happened on this day. Really? And whereas it might be common knowledge to somebody who's interested in that,
Yeah.
the majority of the population may have no clue.
Yeah.
Shit rolls downhill, but we've gotten real good at kicking it back up.
See what I can do about that.
Yeah.
I do know some people on the red side.
The only problem with kicking it back up is you always have a little left on your shoe. You know what I mean? But no, that's why I've had a lot of people talk to me about getting promoted and stuff, and that whole, talking about all those people you're responsible for is one of the reasons why I don't have much interest in it. Like right now, I have my main focus every day is to make sure the guys on my rig, it's my number one priority, is that they go home to their family. And if you're at, the next level up, battalion chief level, now I've got all these guys that, and just me, and maybe other guys don't think of it that way, but for me personally, now I'm thinking, now I have a whole battalion of people that is, in my mind, my responsibility to make sure they go home to their family.
We had
That's just a lot.
Chris Rourke on a couple days ago, and he brought that same mindset. But what was interesting is he also talked about the things that he has to sacrifice, sometimes even at home, to maintain that level of dedication to an entire battalion. It was interesting.
Well, and the thing that kind of sticks out in my mind whenever we start talking about that is, at the company level, you're fire captain, you have a certain amount of control over what happens to your guys, as far as on a scene.
Right.
You're there with them. There's things that you can do. As a battalion chief, or, whatever it's equivalent to on the fire department or on the police department, you're not really there. So things are happening that you don't really have control over. Mm-hmm. And I think that has to add a whole nother level of stress. And I mean,
well, I'm sure I know the way it would be for me. I'm sure it's the same way for him. The day that guy got shot, we were working on the gate at the house.
It's awful.
Well, and I'm sure immediately, and I did too, when he left, I'm sure his thoughts are, or they go to, were these guys prepared? Did they have what they needed? Did they have the training they needed? And all that stuff that is at that upper level where, when you're down in the field, you don't think about that. But I'm sure being removed from that, it's more of a, did they have what they needed? Did they have the training they needed? Did they have the equipment they needed? Did they have all that stuff? So,
Doug, where have you found and this is an honest question, where have you found your passion and enjoyment the further you get removed from what you originally came on to do?
Well, the thing is, until I just got promoted, I was still out there. I still thought I could do it. I still think I can do it. But it's not my job to do it. What I first came on to do, right? So as you get promoted, taking those years of experience and pass. That's why I don't want to leave. I think I have knowledge to pass along. I used to, when I was younger and I came on, I tried to soak up all the knowledge I could from others that had been there for a while, and then created my own person. I became my own detective. I became my own supervisor, and I feel like I still have that. I still have the time to pass along my experience. So whether or not they take that and they're like, hey, I want to go this direction, or I want to use Doug Niemeier's experience and a different commander's experience, put those together to become your own person. That's what we all do. But that's what I do now. I feel like if I can pass along anything to anyone, and I also think I still have a lot to do for our department. The jobs that I've had, they're pretty diverse. So could I go back and work in the field? Yes. Can I be in investigations? Yes. Could I be at City Hall? Yes. I was never in the tactical side of things. But all those things are going to be there when I'm gone. And if somebody doesn't have the knowledge that I have to pass along to it, they're going to have to learn it all over. So that's where I find when I go to work every day, it's like, what can I do? The position I have now, what can I do to make somebody's job easier? What can I provide them? All those kinds of things is just the role that I'm placed in right now. And, tomorrow, next week, I could get transferred and they put me in charge of something else. And I'll take the knowledge that I had from previous years to do that. So that's what comes to my mind, I think. And, if I lose the passion to go to work every day, then I'll retire. But I want to go to work every day. I mean, I was up this morning at 5:15, and no, it wasn't because I had to go pee. I get up at 5:15. I did that at 1:30 in the morning, as you guys made fun of me about. So I get up every morning. I'm at work by 6, usually 6:30 at the latest, and I'm there. Then I'm on the phone half the night too, with people, and I'm okay with that. If I wasn't okay with it, I could just be like, well, I'm off work. But that's not what you do in our line of work. You're available pretty much all the time. I will say the biggest thing about, we have a farm, and when you go to our farm now with the phone service of the company that we went with, it literally does not work down there. It literally will not work. And then the first time I went down here a few weeks ago, I was like, I have 0 cell phone service. None. It just says no service across the phone. I'm like, oh boy. Okay, it was fine. It was okay. Because that was 2 days I got to check out. They couldn't call me. Now there are some people freaking out because they're like, oh my gosh, where'd that dude do? Where'd he go? But
we ran him off. Shit.
Yeah. But now I have to tell people when I go. But what I'm telling you is those 2 days of checking out like that is always good for you too. When your phone doesn't work, because when I'm here, I'm available. Like Darrin said, we were working on the gate. We were working on the gate the day that he got shot, and it was like we went from messing around, working on this gate, just joking around like a normal afternoon. I just gotten off work to my phone literally probably rang 10 times in less than 1 minute. So you can talk about going to, hey, shooting the crap to
go from a 2 to a 10 real quick.
Oh, I didn't know a fat kid could run so fast for a quarter of a mile in a pair of rubber boots. I didn't know it. And you just, and the whole time you're talking on the phone, running, trying to get there. I mean, you just relive those events in your brain, right? I mean, it turned out, I just went to the Royals game with him and his whole family here not too long ago. But you relive it I relive that day. Did you make the right decisions? Did you do the right things? Did you take care of your people the right way? All those kinds of things. But that goes back to all the experiences we had in life. And, that's an experience. That one experience right there that's happened was an absolutely horrible experience and a terrific one at the same time. Kid's a miracle. I mean, it's just amazing. So the event was horrible. Everything else has been an amazing deal. So you got to live the horror to have the heroic side of it. So, people got to be able to separate that. I think what you guys do, I'll say it again, it's a very honorable job. And people need to look at it that way because most people still do. I hate to say it, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of one of the most horrific things that happened in our country in our lifetime. There are a lot of people now don't even know what that is. But after that day happened 20 years ago, everyone wanted to do our job. Everyone wanted to do it. I just hope to God that something like that doesn't happen again, so that people all of a sudden want to be a fireman or want to be a policeman because of that, because of a horrific event. But I'm going to tell you that was a changing point in America when everyone wanted to do this job, and in military service too. You know, so
Yeah, that was crazy time to be on the job. I mean,
yes,
to go from, at the time I was working up by the airport, and I mean, just like flipping a switch everywhere we went. I mean, people were thanking us, wanting to buy a grocery. It was just such a weird thing to experience.
yeah, and you know what though, I find this happens, and here's another thing that doesn't get out. If I'm in uniform, I've been to places where I go to get up from eating. I'll never forget the last day that I worked at the patrol division station. I took my staff out for lunch. I took my staff out for lunch for everything they did for me for those 2.5 years I was there. I went to pay the bill and it was already paid. I mean, there was 4 or 5 people eating at this restaurant and the bill had been paid already. I didn't know who paid it, and they're like, nope, it's already been paid. That happens more than people know. People just aren't quick to stand up and say, hey. But I have people, anytime I'm in uniform or I stop somewhere, you know, I always say Quick Trip. But stop at Quick Trip, people are like, hey, thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do. That doesn't get out there. You don't hear that. But there are a lot of people that are thankful for what we do. And that's another thing you asked me earlier, and I should have said it. You have to remind your folks of that. How many times you get thanked today for what you do? I bet it's more often than they realize, because, you know, what's the saying? You got to be, you know, you got to tell 10 positives to someone for that one negative.
Mm-hmm.
The saying of, if you're in the box, you're
oh gosh, here we go.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you knew how to read until last time. You're like, I got some books. I was like, he just saying that.
Dr. Seuss books.
I've never once seen that guy read a book. Never. Just so you know. He's like, well, I read his book and I read his. By the way, I looked at you. I'm glad you came presentable. You look like a.
I did look like
you
a
look like
last time.
You look like an advertisement.
Cold.
I mean,
It was cold.
man, you had on some stock. You got on some stocking cap.
It was cold.
I was like, what are you doing?
Here's this Gandhi we found. We're going to interview him about mental health.
So I was like,
I look like a mental health.
yes, you did.
How long have you been off your meds, sir?
Oh my goodness! Now he's a walking billboard, right? I mean, look at him.
That's what care of my people.
Oh my goodness! Actually, I think I had a storm hat on last time I was here. I was throwing you a little love.
That's right.
Why can't we get some love here? I'd advertise you.
Okay. I'll get you some. I'm getting ready to make an order, so.
I mean, I may not be on camera, but I'll wear it proudly behind here.
This dude does give you love. He's like, he'll be putting it out tonight I was on the Washdown. You know, watch him.
Hey, you got to advertise for him.
Right.
We could put like your little hat there on like the front of the table. Yeah.
Get you.
Yeah, you guys need like a
flag.
sticker wall or something.
Yeah.
See, I want
I'd like to
all of our guests to sign the wood. But Jeremy's like, I worked hard to put up that wood. And I'm like, it's pieces
you'll
of
have
wood.
to do
You did?
something else.
See, got him coming in late.
Yeah.
Coming in late. You could be
Right at the end.
This whole thing could be just like a NASCAR billboard. So, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna work on the soundproofing.
Yeah.
We won't even go there. I'm not even gonna go there. But you could be like sponsored by.
Yeah, this episode is sponsored by.
See, that's the problem with cops. I think they know it all. We got some budget guy in here telling us about soundproofing now.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Finance guy.
We do need sponsors, though.
So we could go live with my oldest daughter. She's trying to FaceTime me. Yeah.
Like, Allison, I'm busy.
Yeah. Put her on here. But no, it's fun. I appreciate what you guys are doing. I really do. I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm anything I can do to ever help this this topic. Just getting out. I know. I appreciate Darren. I appreciate what you guys do. I appreciate being able to tell my story. I hope that young people that are coming on this job watch. I hope the word gets out for you, because it truly does need to be something that, especially somebody in my position on my department, they're like, I had no idea. And in fact, the last time I got promoted, people showed up and be like, he actually made it. Like, if he can do it, we all can do it. Give people hope. I say that jokingly, but in all reality, there were some people that are like, I can't believe you made it. And I'm like, I know, me neither.
That's a surprising amount of people that get promoted because of that.
What's that?
That's a surprising amount of people that get promoted because, like, if that guy can be a captain, then I can be a captain.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, if he can do it,
But, on the fire side, we have to study and earn it.
Right,
and
that's true.
Police department, you just
my goodness.
got to meet a ticket quota.
Yeah. Well, according to recently, we don't do that either. We don't do anything great. Right?
Right.
What do you do?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, until it's.
Yeah, until the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, you're right. We say it at my house all the time. My kids will both say it. We always say, there goes the heroes, and there goes the red team. There goes the heroes, and I'm always like, yeah, and then they'll park and wait for us to get there before they can go in and be heroes.
He has a string of lights on his porch that were mine.
Yes,
but
they were.
They change colors, so he has them on blue all the time. So anytime I go and I find the remote, turn them to red, walk over. Yeah. Like, oh,
see,
I see your
childish. That's the problem. Professional. I try to keep it professional, you guys.
Yeah, we still have the highest city approval rating. How about that?
Shocker. Here's the
Everybody
deal.
wants us
Shocker.
Well, the difference is, I think the main difference is we don't take people to jail.
I've seen some firemen that would have, though. There's been times. Yeah. Or
believe
folks
me.
on the ambulance be like, we're taking you to detention.
Yeah.
You're not.
Or
So,
the cop's like, all right, hospital or jail. And I'm like, jail.
yeah.
Jail.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, it should be. I did work over the city for a couple of years, and they put out the survey. You guys finish first every year. I can't remember who's number 2, and we're number 3 every year.
Yeah.
Just
It
watch
ain't the trash service.
Yeah, those poor guys. Yeah. Well, hell, they don't even pick up the trash at my house. Not even on.
It's because you're a cop.
No, because I don't have water service there either.
So you don't have water service, you don't have trash service.
Yeah, your trash is under your water service, and so they don't pick up my trash. I don't have water.
Shit we do in this city. I swear.
Yeah,
If we only knew a finance guy that could work on that.
yeah,
Nope, don't know any.
Nope.
yeah. We'll see.
Well, guys,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, it was good.
Seriously, I was happy to get. We were both happy to get you.
We've
both on
actually
here.
been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, and it is everything we wanted it to be. Just a big old knockout session towards Doug.
That's kind of what it turned out. I knew that's what. That's why I asked him. Buddy. I said, can you get some sort of agenda of what they want to talk about or direction you want to go? And then you text back, no, I got nothing. We're just going to see what happens. And I kept thinking, they're gonna attack me. The 3 of them are going to.
we had a group chat going on about you in it.
I knew you would, and that's okay because you guys need that for your ego. You need to be able to do that once in a while. And I'm fine. I'm where I'm at. I'm fine. If that helps you guys, I'm willing to take
so
it.
red.
I don't know.
Yeah. So when we get out of here, you're gonna pay. I did it the first time as a thing. I didn't know. No, but on a
So getting pulled over on the way home.
yeah.
I have nowhere to go today, so I'm safe.
Yeah.
Did I tell you last time I was here, he pulled me over one morning on the way to work? Years ago. You remember that?
No.
Years ago. And it was way before we live in different neighborhoods, whatever. He just happened to get on the highway behind me. 5:30 in the morning, driving to work. Woo! I'm like, God dang, I'm not speeding. So I pull over, and I'm sitting there just mad. My phone rings, and it's him. And I'm like, I just got pulled over. He's like, it's me, dumbass, go. And I'm like, what do you mean go? I'm supposed to stop. Jesus. Ass. Just go.
I'm not getting out of my car for this joke. But,
Yeah.
I did that to my dad too. It
went over well.
didn't turn out as well.
Did you get spanked on the side of the road?
So next time I'm running, I thought it was my brother.
Just his luck, he'll have like some trainee with him.
I get stop sticked and all that works. That's a bad joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we go again.
But I did that to my dad down on. He used to work the 3 to 11 shift down on Gardner and Shoto, and so he'd get off work and man, he zip out of work, and I sat back there, and man, he whipped the light right there on Shoto. I flipped the lights on. He pulls over, walk up there in the pitch dark. It's 11:30. I'm like, "Can you see your license, please, sir?" And what's your hurry? And he's fumbling for his stuff, and he turns around, and that was good times. That's probably the first time you've ever seen a policeman run back to the car.
I'm out. Because his hands are about this big.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky just to see hand come out the window.
Yeah. I probably would just drive off. Yeah. No, that is kind of the fun part and lighter side of life. I can't even think of if you would have told me ahead of time you want to tell stories back and forth about the things that we have done on the job. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. I can't always think of all of them, but it's been fun. It's been fun to be on opposite sides too.
Yeah.
I said this last time. It wouldn't have been as fun if we were on the same team at work, because it becomes almost a complaining session of, well, this is what I did. I don't know the ins and outs, just like you said earlier. You think you know somebody's job, but you really don't know what we do. And I think I know your job. Well, I do know your job, but no.
Be awesome. Pretty easy for us, hard for you.
Yeah. So it's been really good to be in this, so we could throw things off each other. So, but man, there are some good stories. I don't know that they're necessarily for public consumption all the time.
Off camera.
Maybe when I'm retired.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm retired, right? So, but we made it. I mean, we both made it, and you guys can too. You guys will make it, and I hope everybody that has worked for us sees that and can make it too, because it's definitely a marathon. It's a marathon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think having that mindset of this is not a short sprint. You have to have staying power, and you have to do the things that will give you that staying power and let you be successful into the future.
Yeah, and I'll come back on next time. Darrin will be retired. Maybe all of us can get promoted one more time. Go from there. Yeah.
Well,
he'll get promoted. He'll be the head of his company.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the main dog petter.
main dog petter. That's COO or CEO.
I haven't decided what the title is going to be yet.
Yeah.
You're going to give yourself like employee of the year.
Yeah. Give myself a promotion. I'm on the police department promotion scale. I'm due for another.
Get a ribbon for best dog petting.
That's right.
Most
Okay,
dog pets.
so we move on. I've been trying to be serious on this thing, and this has been nothing but pick on me. I got feelings. I got feelings and stuff.
Doug, you have no idea.
Somebody give him a ribbon for most feelings.
There
God,
you
here
go.
we go.
No idea how much I appreciate it, because typically it's just pick on Jeremy Day all the time, especially if Chris is here as well. And so, yeah, it's been
nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad. And this is actually how, because I can take it as much as I can give it out, right? And that's what people got to realize. That's a coping mechanism also, is to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, and I think people, we talked about it before the other day with James Kelly about people needing to have a little bit thicker skin, about, especially in our line of work, because the humor and everything that we do use is not exactly normal. I think that's fair to say. And if you're super easily offended, maybe you need to readjust your perspective just a little bit.
It's difficult now, especially in the position I'm in. You have to have to be aware.
Yes.
You have to be aware, and that is one of the things that changes as you climb the ladder too. Is you got to be aware because, and for what it's worth, it's say it again. You don't know where people came from or what they've had go on in life, and people are offended by whatever.
Pick a topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick a topic, but when you get in management, you have to deal with those kinds of things, and I can tell you, if you grew up like we did, you have thick skin.
Yeah.
And I think my daughters have it too, but it's kind of how you're raised or what you're raised around or all that. But I would. People ask me this. I don't know about you, but I don't know that I'd change a lot of things in my career. I don't know that I'd change a lot of things. With the good things and the bad things and all that, I don't think I'd change much of it because it's turned out pretty well. And we'd all like to change some things that's happened to us in life, but that's why it's called life.
Yeah.
So,
Darren, any closing remarks so we don't have to let the cop go last?
oh, wait for these words of wisdom. I mean,
Let's see, what other things do I got?
I've used up my box. I've used up
Go back to the box thing.
You didn't tell me I was going to have to save something for the end.
I'm stealing his numbers there, too.
So you're going to go on somebody else's podcast and be like, look, yeah.
I got this novel idea here I came up
I was
with.
thinking about this thing. No, I agree, though. I mean, all the stuff we've gone through, as tragic as some of it is and what we learned from it, I mean, it's made me who I'd be a totally different person today if I hadn't. Do I want to do it again? Absolutely not. Would I change some of it? Absolutely. But it's made me who I am, and that's who I am now, and that's and I'm happy with that. So.
Well, Doug, Darren, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Just like we close every episode, if you are struggling, there are resources out there. Reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out. If you know somebody that is struggling, reach out to them, let them know what resources are there, and just let them know that you care. Sometimes that's the biggest thing, is just knowing that somebody gives a shit. So, all right. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.